What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Call of Duty World War II weapon review on BlackTideTV. You know, sometimes I hate you guys. Sometimes I hate myself for including these options in the first place. But the most recent weapon poll on my Twitter page, you guys voted for the US shovel. So without further ado, let's jump into this review because the gameplay isn't super long. And between you and me, I am not going to get a second gameplay with this thing. So your US shovel is your secondary one-hit kill melee weapon in Call of Duty World War II. It's currently the only melee weapon, and it is the only melee weapon that will make a difference in earning diamond camouflage. There are 3 other melee weapons in the game code currently. We're not sure if those are going to be in supply drops or if they're going to be given to us freely. I'm not really sure, but there are 3 other melee weapons, but they won't contribute to you earning diamond camouflage. All you have to do is complete the camos on the US shovel and you'll get gold and diamond simultaneously, which is nice. Now, to sum up today's review before we get into too many details, the US shovel alongside the 2 launchers in Call of Duty World War II, they're your one-way ticket to a lower kill death ratio. You'll not find more frustrating weapons to use in the entire game. You will be miserable after a very short time using these weapons. But more on that to come. First, I'd like to address the serrated basic training because you'll notice a lot of people recommending serrated because it's technically the melee basic training in the game, but I wouldn't recommend this one. Serrated allows you to take your melee weapon, the US shovel, as a primary and melee faster. It's also going to give you 2 throwing knives and 2 tacticals. Now, if you prestige, you'll have a challenge for each of your basic trainings, and the challenge for serrated is to get throwing knife kills. Now, that's your first indicator. Your second indicator is the hard truth of the fact, when you're faced with multiple enemies, you will lose the quote-unquote gunfight if you're using a shovel. Like bringing a knife to a gunfight, you're bringing a shovel to a gunfight. Why would you be using the serrated basic training in the first place? So you can melee faster, and the only reason you would need to melee faster is if you are faced with multiple enemies at once, in which case you're already dead. When you're meleeing a single enemy, there's usually an animation that takes place that sucks you into them, in which case being able to melee faster isn't going to make a difference. So serrated basic training is all about the throwing knives. It's not really great for your melee weapon, it's just an extra added bonus. Not to mention the fact that your basic training is one of only 2 major abilities that each class can use, and is very important to your class build, especially with the US shovel. There are much better options for basic training here. Inconspicuous for quieter movement, undercover for hidden enemy death locations and the cold-blooded effect, flanker, you will be hidden from UAV when you're moving quickly, energetic so you can sprint again sooner. Of course, you're going to choose the one that best complements your division. I would recommend airborne division so you can sprint for longer distances, mantle, and sprint faster, but you might also want mountain division, which will make you invisible to UAV and give you silent movement, in which case you'll be using that energetic basic training. With airborne, you'll want to use one of the first 3. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat the rest of this review. I want to get real with you guys. Using the shovel is, like I said, one of the worst tactics in Call of Duty World War II. This should only be used to complete your camouflage challenges. You are going to be frustrated using this weapon because this game is not designed for melee weapon use. In terms of historical accuracy, not a single soldier ever in history has asked their CO to forego their rifle in favor of a shovel. Could you imagine that conversation on the front line? No sir, I'm not going to be using my rifle today, I'm going to go shovel some people to death. It's just so stupid. But coming back to Call of Duty World War II specifically, the gameplay map layout here does not complement a melee playstyle. While in the advanced movement Call of Duty games, you could dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge away from enemies, run up to them, wall run, slide, fly, boost, and then punch them in the face, you can't do that here. Your options are pretty well limited to run straight down a hallway towards your enemies while they fire fully automatic weapons at you, or hide around corners. This is a classic game where melee isn't your best option, and with the time to kill so high, you're probably going to die, and die a lot. It's just not an effective tactic anymore, and really melee weapons never should have been added to Call of Duty games in the first place. I don't mind being able to melee an enemy in the case that I run out of ammo for my primary weapon, but in terms of using the shovel as my primary weapon, in my opinion, the shovel serves the sole purpose of giving Sledgehammer an excuse to add melee weapon variants into the game later on, which we've already heard. There are 3 melee variants in the game already. Now, to wrap up today's review, I'd like to leave you guys with an interesting factoid. Despite being the only official melee weapon in the game, the US shovel isn't the best melee weapon. The infantry division bayonet attachment will win every single time. And with that in mind, I'll be rating the US shovel 2 out of 10. Don't at me. Hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. What do you think of melee weapons in Call of Duty games in general? Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you spot the hidden Astro logo in today's video? If you did, and you're the first to comment the correct timestamp, that's worth 5 entries in my Astro A20 giveaway. I will catch you guys on the next video.